If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
And the time now for our, I guess you call it the interview section. I've got with me today Ed Booty Jenkins. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Jim.
It's Bob. You've been calling me. You've been calling me Jim forever.
I'm in Bob.
There are a lot of Jim Greens in Silicaca. There's only 2 Bob Greens. So,
yeah, there's really only one.
Let me introduce you, Ed. Ed is 3 Purple Hearts from Vietnam and 2 Silver Stars, and he works with the disabled American veterans. And Booty, I'm gonna call you Booty. It's nice to have you with us today. And just tell us what you want to talk about.
Well, we just want to just kind of pay a tribute to Ron Johnson, the things that he done for us over the years, and there'll never be another like him, Bob. Never be another like him.
Yep, Ron was a good guy, and let's bring up to get started right here the House District 33 seat, district seat that Ron Johnson vacated. The general election will be on January 19th, 2021, but there's a long series of elections to get there. On primary election, where you can be a Democrat or a Republican, will be on October 6th, with a runoff, if possible, on November 3rd. The special general election on January the 19th. Now, I'm not going to say to fill Ron Johnson's shoes, Booty, because I don't think Ron Johnson's shoes can be filled, do you?
No, ain't no way in the world. Ron Johnson constantly worked for the people in District 33, and he was always available, and he might not call you back exactly at the time you think he would, but he was always available. His seat will never be filled anymore. There's 2 people, 2 legends in mine, their seat was never filled. Ron Johnson and Bill Nichols. He was another Bill Nichols type. Well, and the fact that he tried to help everybody. He would try to just go out of his way to help everybody. On the seniors, he did a lot of cooking for seniors at their centers, and Wegumpka, Stewartville, and Talladega Springs. And then he would cook for people on the outside, and he would take up time. You would see Ron Johnson getting up early in the morning, going around meeting people in restaurants, drinking coffee with them, and taking time and listening to their problems and trying to help in the whole district. Now, Bob, you've known Ron for many years, and you know that that's the type of person he was. He always tried to help and lend a helping hand to everybody. I'd like to point out the fact is, I didn't know at the time that Ron Johnson was feeling bad the last time I ate with him up to the hospital. And, I just recently got a clean bill to health from cancer, and that was caused from Vietnam. But he was always worried about the other people, how he could help them worse than his own health and himself. And Ron would never complain, to my way of thinking. He'd never complain about anything. He was always out there willing to help everybody and anybody he could. Now, the thing is about Ron Johnson is every time you meet him, he was plain Ron Johnson. He didn't try to be nothing big, nothing fantastic. He would just want to know if you had a problem that he could help you with in Montgomery, he would. And Lord knows that the number of vets that he'd helped. Now, Ron Johnson and I had a strong relationship with Debbie McBride over the years, through Bill Nichols, and over the years up until she retired. And it has been a rough go since she retired, getting a lot of help for our vets and our seniors, Bob. But people don't know unless they have been around Ron Johnson what kind of man he was and how good a man he was. And I've been in church all my life too, in between military, Bob. But the thing about it, that Ron Johnson did more to help people than anybody I ever know other than Bill Nichols. And you like throw in something.
Buddy, I received a letter yesterday from the friends and representatives of Ron Johnson that I was asked to bring up this morning, and it says, Memorial for Representative Ron Johnson, July 14, 2020, Alabama lost a treasured elected official. Representative Ron Johnson was the people's representative. He voted the way his constituents wanted him to vote on legislation. He was always willing to work and help people, whether they were from his district or not. He was very active, seeing to it that people and organizations had his help to promote better lives, better communities, and economics in their area. When ending a conversation or ending a meeting with you, Ron would always say, "If I can help you, let me know." Since the passing of Representative Ron Johnson, plans for a memorial service have been planned. However, due to the current situation with the coronavirus, it has been decided to postpone the memorial until a later date. Testing results in Alabama of around 200 testing positive for the virus per day now suggested that larger groups do not need to meet. We will notify you when the memorial will take place, location and time. Please be in the prayer for his family and his friends, and it was signed sincerely, friends of Ron Johnson.
Nobody could have done any better job than those friends, because everybody, Ron Johnson was a type person, he tried to be everybody's friend, Bob. There's no doubt in my mind that he tried to be everybody's friend.
Well, Buddy, you know, everybody tries to do that, but Ron accomplished it.
Ron Johnson accomplished. That's the thing about it.
I'd like to be everybody's friend, but everybody's not my friend because they don't want to be my friend. And some of them, I can't blame them. And, you know, you'd like everybody to be your friend, but I don't know of anybody really that was dissatisfied with Ron Johnson. You can tell by him being in the state legislature for 40 years?
41 years. Here's the thing with Ron Johnson. No matter, he was an individual that tried to help everybody. He didn't care what party you come from, nothing else. If he could help you, he would. Ron Johnson helped more people than anybody that I know of it's ever been, because he was always out there willing. And as you say, if Ron Johnson had an enemy, I don't know it. And because he was that good at the job he done. And it'll never be filled like that no more. I don't care who fills it, who tries. But I hope ever who gets that job will try.
Well, we won't talk about names of anybody, and I don't want to talk about names, but Buddy, I hadn't even heard any, and I'm out and about every day, I hadn't even heard any names. I've heard one name come up so far, but other than one name, I hadn't heard anybody come up. How about you? I don't want to mention any names now. We don't want to get in politics.
No, we're not.
Because you can't fill Ron Johnson's shoes. It's going to be running somebody to go down there and sit in that seat.
That's exactly what will happen. Somebody go down there and sit in that seat. You can't fill Ron Johnson. But like you said, there's one, and roughly that's all. I've been going around, here and yonder with vets, not only just Sylacauga area, but here and there and everything. And I was here at the American Legion yesterday, and there was a lot of friends there talking about Ron Johnson and what a friend he had been to District 33. And the whole thing in a nutshell resolves around this. The letter from the friends defines Ron Johnson. And if I ever had a friend, Bob, you're my friend too, but Ron Johnson was my friend. I could call him anytime, and if I got something wrong with me, he wanted to know about it. And the thing about it, I rode many miles with Ron Johnson in the legislature down there with him, and rode many miles around. And the only time that Ron Johnson ever had to campaign was the last time, and we pulled that thing out, and thankful we did. And this is the key to the whole thing. He was never beat at the ballot box. Two people would never beat at the ballot box, and both of them were deceased, was Ron Johnson and Bill Nichols.
Well, Ron started off as a Democrat.
Yes, he did.
And he never changed his views. He always told me, I asked him in a radio interview one time why he changed. He said he didn't change. The Democrats changed and left him. And I fully believe that in many cases that Ron had always had the same values with the people for the parts of Clay, Coosa, and Talladega County.
And part of Clay.
That he represented in the House. And you know, he was one of the most respected individuals in the state legislature. Another member of the legislature told me one time that he served on a committee with Ron Johnson, and he didn't always agree with Ron Johnson, that Ron Johnson could be one of the most honorary individuals that he'd ever seen, but Ron Johnson was set out to help the people of his district and help the people of the state, and that's what he was all about. And that Ron Johnson might have a view and he thought of something, but if his people wanted something different, if Booty Jenkins wanted something different, if Bob Green wanted something different, he voted the way the majority of the people in his district wanted.
Absolutely, absolutely. He always voted with the majority of his district no matter what. He was a people's person, and the majority of the people, and in Ron Johnson's district, I guarantee you, we as people in Ron's district for years, and I remember when he, won the election the first time, he worked at the drugstore. And
when was that, in 1980?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's pretty good for me to remember back then. I wasn't even a youngster back
79,
then.
Really.
79, okay.
Yeah. Because in 79 is when he won the election, later 79, to go to the State House, and he stayed down there until his death. But during the time he was at that drugstore, he helped people there too. And there's no telling. You cannot never count it, Bob. It'll never be accounted for the number of people that Ron Johnson helped.
You know, Woody, if most of the state legislatures down there, if they're Alabama graduates or Auburn graduates, but I'm willing to say that 90% of the people that knew Ron Johnson well have no idea which college he graduated from.
Sure didn't, because he never mentioned it.
He never mentioned it. It wasn't about sports to Ron. It was about the people of District 33.
That's a whole.
Now, if you'd like to know, now he graduated from Florida State. That's where he got his degree from Florida State. But I never heard him mention it. The only way I found out was reading the bio. And once he got in the state legislature, you'd never know that he was a former. Well, not a former pharmacist. You're still a pharmacist, because
he was licensed.
I think
he stayed licensed pharmacist plumb on up till his death.
Stayed up to his death. But I'm talking with Ed Jenkins this morning, and we're just talking about Ron Johnson, something unusual, nothing in particular. But let me tell you about Ed Booty Jenkins. He's 3 Purple Hearts from Vietnam, wounded 3 times, 2 Silver Stars. We're talking about a true hero right here. And I know you don't want to see it. And a lot of people still don't like to talk about the Vietnam conflict. It was really a war, it wasn't a conflict.
Well, Bob, let's just put it this way. I have several heroes, but my hero is the one that I could not save, could not help. It's out there in the grave. But we have some prominent heroes in R.C. Wakefield, a prisoner of war. Most everybody knew him from World War II, along with my colonel friend Sprayberry. They're my favorite heroes, from not only from here, but period, in the military.
Been talking with Ed Jenkins this morning, and we have a lot of deal about people not respecting the flag and everything. My father was killed in World War II.
Oh man,
and died under that flag, and I respect it. I'm a peacetime stateside Vietnam veteran. You actually went to Vietnam.